Imagine this, you finally buy your dream home after years of saving. You're excited to start fresh, decorate it your way, and enjoy the quiet life you always wanted. But then, the HOA president, the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood, sets her sights on you. She finds you for the smallest things, stalks you with her clipboard, and even tries to take your dog away. What she didn't know, though, was that I had a plan. And when I pulled it off, her entire empire came crashing down. When I moved into my house, it felt like everything I'd worked for had finally paid off. A quiet neighborhood, friendly-looking homes, and a backyard where my dog, Max, could finally run around freely. The first few days were bliss. I planted flowers, unpacked, even baked cookies to share with neighbors. But that honeymoon phase ended the moment Karen showed up. Karen was the HOA president, and she carried herself like she was the sheriff of the neighborhood. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, lips pursed in disapproval. She didn't even say welcome. Her first words to me were, "Your lawn is already out of compliance. Half an inch too tall. Cut it or get fined." I honestly thought she was joking. But she wasn't. And that was just the start. Over the next few weeks, the harassment became routine. If my trash bins sat outside for more than a few minutes after pickup, I'd find a notice taped to my door. She left letters about my curtains being too bright for the neighborhood's aesthetic. She even went as far as to take pictures of my dog, Max, and claimed his barking was a nuisance. The worst part? She didn't just drop off letters, she'd knock on my door and lecture me like I was a child. One afternoon she actually said, "You're new here, so I'll give you advice. People who don't follow the rules don't last long in this neighborhood." It felt less like advice, and more like a threat. I started talking to other neighbors, hoping maybe it was just me she was targeting. But I quickly learned Karen had terrorized everyone. One neighbor told me Karen fined her for having a pumpkin on her porch 2 days after Halloween. Another said Karen complained about the color of their mailbox. Everyone hated her, but nobody dared to challenge her. Why? Because she held all the power with the HOA fines and rules. At least, that's what she wanted us to believe. That's when it clicked for me. Karen might act untouchable, but there had to be cracks in her armor. So, I got to work. HOA bylaws are public, and I spent hours every night combing through every single page. I cross-checked what she was doing with what the rules actually said. And then, boom. I struck gold. Karen herself was breaking multiple HOA rules. She had an unapproved shed in her backyard, her fence was taller than regulations allowed, and most shocking of all, she had been pocketing HOA funds. Money collected from all of us for maintenance projects that magically never happened. She wasn't a queen. She was a fraud that I gathered everything, photos of her shed and fence. Copies of the bylaws she was breaking. Records of where money was supposed to go but mysteriously vanished. I printed it all, organized it neatly, and made packets for every single homeowner. By the time the next HOA meeting rolled around, I was ready. Karen walked in that evening like she owned the place, ready to announce new fines. But before she could speak, I stood up and said loudly, "Actually, before you start, I think everyone deserves to see what you've been up to." I handed out the packets. The room went completely silent as people flipped through the pages. Then the murmurs started. Then shouting. Neighbors were furious. People were pointing at her, demanding answers. Karen's face turned beet red. She shouted back, threatened lawsuits, tried to deny everything, but the proof was right there in black and white. That night, the neighborhood voted to remove her as president. And when all the evidence of missing funds was turned over, Karen found herself facing legal trouble too. The next morning, the neighborhood felt lighter. People smiled at each other again. No more Karen lurking with her clipboard. No more ridiculous fines. No more harassment. And for the first time, I felt at peace in my own home. As for Max, he barks at squirrels all day long now. And you know what? The neighbors laugh. Nobody cares. So yeah, sometimes the best revenge isn't yelling, or fighting, or stooping to someone's level. Sometimes the best revenge is shining a light on the truth, so bright that it burns down their entire fake kingdom.